Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my podcast, which now has a name, Soul Light Reflections, as I'm sure you've seen. I am super excited to be able to continue this journey. First of all, I want to shout out every single one of you who has reached out to me on messages, on texts, commented, and shared your reflection of this podcast, of the first episode that I released. It means seriously so much to me to be able to share from such an authentic space on this type of platform. I love that podcasting can be long form, it can be short form, it can be like I could make a minute episode if I wanted to. I love that it's like, fuck the rules, just do you, share your thoughts, share what it is that you need to get out there. And I'm excited to utilize my skills of storytelling that I feel like I've recently started to recognize how powerful it is, how helpful it can be for people. Whenever I meet new people and I'm like telling them a story in person, I'm like, okay, bear with me because my stories go like all over the place. You'll get all the dirty details and then I will come back to the point, I promise. I'm not just gonna like get lost on a tangent and never come back to it. And recently someone said to me, you know, I actually love the way that you tell stories because yes, you do go all over the place, but you give me all of the details and I can fully picture what it is that you're talking about through the words that you're telling me and through the way that you paint the picture. And I'm excited to utilize that skill. And it feels good to recognize that within myself and celebrate that. I think there's so much about every single one of us that makes us unique and allows us to experience this life in a different way than the next person and to be able to share our gifts in a different way than the next person. And we don't celebrate that enough. So take a quick moment to recognize your skill set and the things that make you important and unique and celebrate it for a second. You know, you can pause this and do a little happy dance if you need to. But anyway, I just am super grateful for this platform. I am now on not only Spotify, but Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music as of today, the day that I'm recording this episode. And it's 11:11 right now. So hello, angels. It's been really cool to have this new journey of having this podcast because like I said in the first episode, it's something that's been on my heart for a while. And I don't know, kind of felt daunting before and now it just feels exciting. And I'm all about doing things when it feels exciting and aligned. And I literally have a note in my phone of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ideas for podcast episodes already. And I just recorded the first episode 2 days ago. So I'm really excited to really keep this going. So today I want to dive into a topic that's been super personal for me lately, which is shifting your mindset and breaking free from conditioned beliefs that have been with us since childhood. These are the beliefs that shape the way that we see ourselves, that we see the world, that we interact with people around us, and even the way that we express ourselves. And the truth is that shifting your mindset isn't easy. And I'm like sitting here kicking myself because I sound like such a fucking hypocrite because years ago, 7+ years ago, when I started sharing about my autoimmune journey, my health journey, my self-development, all of that, I was shouting from the rooftops, everything starts with mindset. Like just shift your mind, you'll shift everything. And while I think that's partially true, there is so much more to that. And I feel very humbled to be able to share from this new side of things with you because back then I only knew what I knew. And now I know so much more. And then, you know, in another couple of years, I'm going to know even more and I'm going to be able to share even more with you. Right now, I realize that it's not just about shifting mindset. It's not as simple as like thinking positive thoughts and reminding yourself of positive affirmations. Yes, that's part of it. But the real change happens when you actually learn to feel. It's all about embodiment, embodying new ways of thinking. That's where shit gets real. So let's start by breaking down like what is conditioned thinking? What does that actually mean? Because maybe you've heard that term before, maybe you haven't. Basically, from the moment that we're born, we are constantly absorbing messages and ideas and thoughts from people and from the environments around us. These messages, whether it's like from our parents or from teachers or mentors or friends or just society in general, they shape our beliefs about ourselves and about the world and about our capabilities and what's possible for us. And then by the time we're adults, a lot of these ideas and beliefs are so ingrained that we don't even question them. It's like a default setting in our mind. This conditioned thinking affects the way that we move through the world. So the way that we interact in our relationships, how we handle conflict, how we express ourselves, how we make decisions. And a lot of times these conditioned beliefs literally are not even ours. They're just passed down from others, like family members or from society, etc., like I said. But the thing is that they don't always serve us. Kind of like I talked in the last episode about how people have a role in our life for a certain amount of time and then they're meant to kind of flow in and out. Same thing with beliefs and ideas and thought patterns, I should say. They don't always serve us. They might serve us for a short period of time, and then it's time to kind of move on to the next and expand that thought and that level of consciousness. Something that you'll come to realize and hopefully learn to love about the way that I tell stories, the way that I teach, is that Spirit tends to send these like metaphors to my mind to share with you. And so a good metaphor about conditioned beliefs is like if you are wearing a pair of glasses and you've worn them for so long, you've never cleaned them, and you don't realize that they're super dirty. These glasses represent the beliefs that are handed to you by others, from family, from society, from different experiences, and they shift the way that you see everything. And at first, you just assume that's the way the world looks. But then one day you wake up and you realize, oh my God, wait, these glasses are really dirty and I need to wipe them. And then you wipe them and you're like, whoa, wait a second. I can see so much clearer now. Things actually make sense. Oh my God, that was that color. Oh my God, that wasn't just like a fuzzy painting on the wall. I can actually see the detail in it. Once you become aware, you start seeing the world differently and as it truly is through your own scope. And you can start to make choices that actually align with your authentic self. And it's not just the beliefs that you've been conditioned to accept. So let's go back again and talk about how on a daily basis, these conditioned ways of thinking show up in super subtle ways. So it might be this fear of speaking up because as a child, you're taught to be seen and not to be heard. Or maybe it's a feeling that you're never good enough because you grew up being compared to others, whether it be your classmates or family members or someone that, your family knew. Or maybe you grew up and you were taught that it's impossible to be financially abundant and stay in alignment with your soul's purpose and to be holistic and to be healthy and to be happy all at the same time. These conditioned thoughts affect how we show up in relationships. It affects how we communicate, how we set boundaries, and even how much love we believe that we deserve. So in my case, it's also played a role in my relationship with money and with success. Because like that last example I gave you, I've always felt this internal conflict between wanting to be so aligned in my soul's purpose and also wanting so deeply to be financially abundant. To be able to do the things that I want to do and not bat an eye. To be able to help people out when they're in need. And for the longest time, I literally did not think these two could coexist. And I'm still kind of fighting that conditioned belief. And that's the tricky part about that conditioned thinking is that it shapes our behavior when we don't even realize it. But here's the thing, you can't think your way out of conditioned beliefs. You literally have to feel your way out. And that is so much easier said than done. I'm still figuring out how to do that. Now, I've been able to do that in other aspects of my life, and I'll talk about that. But the real shifts happen when you believe on a deeper level that a new way of thinking and being and feeling is actually possible. It's not just about the mental side of the work, it's about embodiment. Embodiment means fully integrating and expressing your soul, your spirit, your highest self through your physical body and everyday actions. It means aligning your thoughts and your emotions and your energy with deeper spiritual truths so that your lived experience, this experience as a human on this planet, actually reflects that deeper understanding of yourself, of your being, and of your purpose. So instead of just holding these concepts in your mind or experiencing them when you're alone, it means living out those truths in a tangible and present way. It means like grounding that spiritual awareness that you have into your actual body, into your behaviors, and into the way that you show up in the world. So it's kind of like not just walking the walk or talking the talk, but walking the talk. It means being really present and connected to your intuition and allowing that higher wisdom to actually guide your actions and guide your expression of self. So for me, I experienced this shift in a really real way with my health. So as many of you know, I was diagnosed in 2017 with an autoimmune condition. And for a while, I really was struggling for like years. So for the first couple of weeks, I was bedridden. And then for the next couple of months, I was doing physical therapy, like just trying to regain strength. Oh my God, I need to like slow down because I am fumbling over my words, getting a little too hype. Whew. Okay, let's start over. Diagnosed with an autoimmune condition in 2017. And I was bedridden for a couple of weeks. I like could not walk on my own. I was like holding onto walls to walk. I could barely stand in the kitchen to like make myself oatmeal for 2 minutes. I wasn't even strong enough to do physical therapy on land. I had to do it in a pool for the first like month or 2 months. Then I was able to do physical therapy on land. Then I was able to start working out again. And then it kind of got better from there. But something changed when I stopped thinking about just healing. And I started to feel that my body was capable of healing. I never accepted a truth of like, this is just what my body is now. I realized that I had to truly believe that I was capable of fully healing. And yes, it took a lot of years to get there. I'm talking like 6+ years to truly start to feel like healthy. But little by little, I shifted my lifestyle to align with that belief. And like I said, it took years. It was not a quick fix. But this past April, I was told that there's no active disease in my body. I literally thought I would never hear those words from a doctor, from a rheumatologist. That didn't just happen because I thought positively, right? It happened because I believed and I felt the shift and I actually made action towards that shift. So embodiment is not just simply feeling, but it's also part of the doing. So fast forward, and now, we're always going to face new challenges in life. One challenge comes to an end, a new one's going to come because we become stronger and stronger and we're able to handle more. The universe is never going to throw more at you than you can handle. And so now, to get personal and really fucking vulnerable, I cannot even believe that I'm about to share this so publicly and openly with my own voice and not just like writing it out. I am facing a new challenge with my mindset around money. To be completely honest with you, I have been struggling financially for over a year, like really, really bad. And it's gone in ebbs and flows. But for the last like 1 to 2 months, my bank account has been in the negatives. Like every time that I get a paycheck from a job that I actually really love, coaching at Orange Theory, it's gone to cover bills. It feels like a never ending cycle. I'm not able to like even, oh God, this is so vulnerable. Whatever. I am hoping that this helps someone and that this vulnerability is here for a purpose because it feels aligned to share, but it feels just, oof, it feels icky. It feels mucky. I haven't even been able to re-up on my like skincare routine. My cleanser, I have this like acne serum and then this moisturizer that I love that I've been using for like 7, 8, 9 years probably almost. I haven't been able to re-up on it. I haven't been able to re-up on like the dry shampoo that I love. Like these dumb things. It seems dumb, but really it's these things that make you feel good, right? And I haven't been able to get those. I haven't been able to get my hair done in 6+ months and I have gray hairs all over the place. It feels like shit. Honestly, it feels like shit. And it feels crazy to admit this publicly. And it's frankly embarrassing. And I've held on to so much shame around this because it feels like, why should I be this literally poor? I would not throw around that term years ago when I like would struggle financially here and there. But this is like a new level for me. I'm 31 years old now and I am the worst off financially that I've ever been in my life. And that feels insane. But at the same time, I am more me than I've ever been. I am more aligned with my purpose than I've ever been. I have a job that I actually love doing. I have people in my life that I genuinely love so much and could not imagine my life without. I am engaged to my absolute soulmate. I have an amazing, cozy little apartment that I've worked so hard to create this cozy space. And the vibe of it, the energy of it is so magic. I still get experiences, although there are plenty of experiences that I would love to get if I had the money that feel really aligned with my heart. I still find little experiences throughout my day, throughout my week that keep me going, that feel really exciting and invigorating. But, I don't want to say but, and there's a duality to it. The duality is that for the first time ever, I can't even cover the basics for myself. I have had to rely so much on my partner to just stay afloat. And it feels shameful. It feels embarrassing. It feels like immense amounts of guilt. But I realize that a lot of that is because of conditioning. A lot of those feelings actually come from my family. This belief within myself that I should just go back to what I got my master's degree in. I hear it all the time. Anytime that I talk about financials to my family, all I ever hear is, just go back to occupational therapy full time. You made money doing that. Why don't you just do that? And to that I say, I tried it. I did. At the end of last year, when I started really struggling financially, and I was in the deepest depression of my entire life, I went back to it. I went back to occupational therapy full part-time. I made enough money to cover my bills, but that was it. I still was not that great off financially, and it was draining my energy so immensely. I would come home and I would just curl up in a ball and cry. And it wasn't like anything specific happened. Like, yeah, here and there, I was an occupational therapist with kids that have disabilities. Yeah, you get a little beat up on sometimes. But for the most part, it wasn't even that. It was just like I was exerting so much energy and I didn't have the time or energy to pour into myself on the other side. Whereas now I have this job coaching at Orange Theory again, which I went back to because it felt aligned to, and I feel so much happier doing it. It feels really exciting and really aligned, and I love hearing after every single class that I coach, at least one person comes up to me saying, oh my God, I needed those words that you said today, or oh my God, thank you for pushing me, or whatever it is. That's what feels aligned. Does that pay the bills as much as my other job did? No, unfortunately not. But it's kind of like you can't unsee what you see, and you can't unfeel what you feel. The fact of the matter is I could easily go back to that career as an occupational therapist. I could easily go back to the clinic that I was working at. I was really good at it. I loved the families I worked with. I loved the people I worked with. It was an incredible place to work. The boss was amazing, is amazing. I still cover there once in a while. Still got my foot in the door just in case things go really, really haywire. But the fact of the matter is the thought of working so hard for money in a way that doesn't feel right to my soul somehow feels worse than literally having negative money to my name. And I know that sounds so crazy to some people, but that's the internal battle of breaking free from that conditioned thinking. I know you might be sitting here like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just go back to that job. Just get stable and then figure it out. I don't know how to express to you if you don't get it, like just how wrong that feels and that I literally cannot. Now, like I said, I still cover there sometimes. I still like make extra money where I can because I have to. Because no matter how much I understand that money is this idea, like think about it. Most of the money in the world, probably like 90% of the quote unquote money in the world is just numbers on a screen. We don't actually see that money. It's not a physical thing. It's really not. And so I see that side of it, and I see, oh, well, we're human and we actually need money to live, right? So that's that like catch-22 that I'm in right now. And if you're not like fully struggling for money right now, maybe there's some other way that you can relate to that, like catch-22, that like duality of thinking. And that's the beauty of being a soul incarnated as a human. There's always duality. There's always two sides to things. There's good and there's bad. There's hot and there's cold. You know, there's happy, there's sad. There's high, there's low. And this is just one of those things. The high is being so connected to the work that I do. Being excited about doing things like hosting this podcast that I make literally zero money for, actually negative, right? Because I'm putting out all this time and energy into this. And so I'm putting out, but I'm not really getting back, right? But it feels aligned. It feels exciting. And there's the side where I'm like, oh, well, I'm spending all this time and energy and I'm not making money. But I know that it's helping people. And to me, that's worth it. So it's about finding values of what is worth it for yourself and holding really, really strong to that. So I want to shift gears a little bit. I feel like I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I want to shift gears a little bit to how conditioned thinking affects our relationships. How many of us have been in friendships or relationships when we are afraid to fully express ourselves because we've been taught that it's better to just avoid the conflict? Like, hands high. Maybe we've stayed in relationships for longer than we should have because we are conditioned to believe that we have to be loyal, even when it doesn't serve us. These beliefs also shape how we set boundaries, how we communicate, and how we love that person, how we believe that we're allowed to get love, receive love. It's important to recognize that these beliefs aren't necessarily our truth. It's simply what we've been taught. Think about like any relationship that you've observed in your life, whether that's your parents or your grandparents or family friends or your friends. Relationships around you affect the way that you embody relationships in your own life. Something that I want to share that also feels very vulnerable, but that's what I'm about. I'm about the real, okay? We're all about getting vulnerable because somehow I firmly believe that it helps other people. And I want to preface this by saying I am not throwing shade whatsoever because all the people I'm about to talk about I love so dearly still. My ex-husband was raised in a household where his parents would be constantly raising their voices at each other, like yelling at each other. They just like lived in a loud household, and it always felt like his parents were always mad at each other, but they still had such a love for each other. And that's the way that he was raised. He witnessed that his entire life. And so then when we were in a relationship, that's kind of how our relationship looked. It was a lot of like raising voices and not really using the kindest words to each other and letting this conditioned thinking take the front seat rather than recognizing, oh, wait, this is just the conditioning. This is not how I genuinely want to interact in this relationship. Unfortunately, but kind of fortunately for us, that relationship ended. We got divorced and we're both much better off for it because we both, I think, got an opportunity to realize how we want to interact, how we want to show up as a partner, and what we deserve in a partner, what we need from our partner. And so the point there is that the more aware we become of these conditioned beliefs and the way that it shapes the way that we interact, the more we can start to break free from them and shift the way that we interact, the way that we express ourselves, the way that we show others love or try to show others love, the way that we receive love. So becoming aware of these conditioned beliefs is really the first step. And I have said this from the beginning of coaching. You have to be aware before you can change anything. If you're not aware of it, how do you know what to change? So I encourage you to wipe your glasses, like that metaphor that I shared earlier. See if the glasses maybe might be a little bit dirty. The way to do that is through journaling, is through introspection, is through therapy, is through meditation, is through visualization. And these are all things that I specialize in, not the therapy, I'm not a therapist, but these are all things that I specialize in working with clients on, is finding that voice within, becoming aware of the way that we are and the way that we want to be. And you really have to experiment with new ways of thinking until you find something that fits. So with the glasses metaphor, maybe it's not just a wipe of the glasses. Maybe you need to literally put on other glasses or a different tint of glasses. It's kind of like trying on different pairs. And then eventually you keep trying different ways of thinking, different beliefs, and then you find something that fits, that feels really aligned. So one of the things that I've started doing is imagining, what is it going to feel like the day that I no longer have to worry about money? I let myself sense that freedom. I know it's coming. I can feel it in my bones. I've seen it in visions. I've seen it in meditations. I've seen it on plant medicine journeys. I've seen it, so I know what it feels like. And I got this soul download yesterday that it's like the universe or my spirit guides are reminding me, like, don't forget this time of struggle. because this is what's going to make you even more empathetic and compassionate and generous when the abundance actually does flow in. And so for me, that's the mindset shift that I am personally holding on to. That this is helping me to shape the person that gets to have all of the abundance and never have to worry about money again. This is the experience that I'm going to get to share with people that makes them see that it's possible to step outside of that. This is how I get to truly shift those conditioned beliefs into my own brand new beliefs, because I have to work so hard at it. Think about like when you get something for free, like let's say like a course, for instance, you get a course for free. And I know this firsthand because I was just thinking about this earlier. So I guess I'll use my own example. I got this course, this really in-depth nervous system regulation course from an amazing practitioner for like $15 like a year ago. And when I tell you that I have simply only ever logged into it and clicked into the first page and never touched it again, I'm not kidding you. But there's also been courses in the past that I've paid way more money for that I get through a lot faster, that I commit myself to. And it's the same thing with this. When you have to work so hard at something or pay a lot of money for it, you automatically put more value on it. You automatically see that it's worth it. And honestly, that goes the same with working with a coach such as me. There's a reason that it's not cheap to work with a coach, because it's really, really valuable. And you have to have some skin in the game to actually make that shift happen, to make it worth it. So when you're shifting your beliefs, it takes hard work. It's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. Like I was talking about with my health journey, it took years and years and years and years of finding that true growth and that true shift to where now I am grateful and humbled to say there's no evidence of active disease in my body. Does that mean that I never experience symptoms anymore? No, it really doesn't. That label of no active disease in my body came from my current lifestyle. And if I sway away from that lifestyle, yeah, I still get symptoms here and there, but it's not enough to overrun my life because I have these new beliefs that I am healthy, that I'm worthy of being healthy. And now I'm on this new journey of shifting other conditioned beliefs. So tap into whatever that is for you. I want you to right now think of some sort of belief that feels like it's probably conditioned, or something that you already know is a conditioned belief, because I want to give you some tangible tips for shifting that mindset. And these are tools that I've personally used, and they help me feel the change, not just think about it. So number one is feeling into the gratitude. Don't just tell yourself you're grateful. Don't just write down things that you're grateful for. But let's like sink into it a little bit deeper. The real power comes when you feel it, when you embody it. So take a second right now, literally right now. Doesn't hurt. Take a second to close your eyes. If you're driving or something, just instead of closing your eyes, simply gaze out and feel the gratitude in your body. Think of the first thing. Let's do this together. Think of the first thing that you are grateful for. It might be something that you're just seeing in front of you, might be something that just instantly comes to mind. Now take a moment to envision where that gratitude sits. Where do you feel it? Do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it in your stomach, your chest, your hands, your mind, your third eye? Notice where it sits. And then picture and feel it expanding and flowing through your body. Almost like that piece of gratitude is like one of those water beads. And then you gently poke it, and all of that water that was in that bead kind of flows throughout your entire body in this beautiful pattern. Now bring the second thing to mind, and let's do the same thing. What another thing that you're grateful for? Take a moment, if you're able to, close your eyes or gaze out, and notice where that piece of gratitude sits in your body. Maybe it's in your toes. Maybe it's in your hips. Maybe it's in your chest, your shoulders, your neck, your eyes, your mouth. Where is it? And then let it expand. That little water bead gets bigger and bigger, and then eventually, boop, it kind of pops and beautifully flows throughout your body. And then we'll think of that third thing. Maybe you already had it in mind. Maybe it's a new thing. It could be a thing, a person, a belief, Something in front of you, something tangible, an idea. Notice where that one sits. Might be the same place as the other ones, might be somewhere different. And then that gets bigger and bigger, and then boop, it flows through your body. That's how you feel gratitude. That's how you align yourself with abundance, not just mentally or tangibly, but energetically. Abundance is not just money, finances. There can be abundance of joy, abundance of love, abundance of gratitude. Now, number 2, we're going to pair affirmation with emotion. Because like I said, I'm a total hypocrite. And years ago, I would have been like, just say your affirmations every day. You'll be great, on the other side. Okay, yes, great. And you got to take it a step further. So choose an affirmation that aligns with the mindset that you want to shift. So like I said before, we kind of went into these tips. Hopefully you've got that idea, your own life example of something that you feel like probably is conditioned thinking or that that you want to shift out of. So for example, if you're working on your relationship with money, you might say something like, I'm worthy of abundance. I really like the phrase I'm worthy of, because I think most of us can relate to this societal conditioned thinking of not being worthy to have the things that we want or need or feel like we get. When you remind yourself that you are worthy of having something, I think that it automatically helps us break outside of that conditioned societal thinking, because I think that we're reminded time and time again that we're not worthy of having it all. We're not worthy of having all the things that we want. Like, we have to pick and choose. So when we remind ourselves that we're worthy of fill in the blank, it allows us to feel a little bit more. So instead of just saying it, we're going to visualize it. Picture yourself living that truth. Allow yourself to feel the emotions that come with it. Something that I really like doing when I'm pairing an affirmation with emotion and feeling is, for instance, that affirmation of I'm worthy of abundance. I will literally picture, what do I look like in my highest version of myself when I am truly abundant in every area of life? What am I wearing? What does my hair look like? What do my accessories look like? What's on my feet? Am I barefoot? Do I have high heels? Do I have sneakers? Like, what am I wearing? What am I doing? Am I walking? Am I dancing? Am I running? Am I jumping? Am I smiling? Am I twirling? Where am I? Am I in an event space? Am I in the forest? Am I by the beach? Am I in my home? Am I surrounded by people? Am I by myself? Picture every single detail that you can. Am I holding something in my hand? Am I thinking about something? Who are the people that are in my life in this era of I am worthy of abundance? So literally picture yourself living that truth. Fully feel the emotions that come with that, whether it's peace or joy or relief or pride or confidence. Let all of those feelings sink in. And the more that you feel it, the more that becomes your genuine reality. And I want to talk all about this on another podcast episode. I already wrote it down, that this idea that there are multiple realities of this exact reality happening at the same time, and we get to pick and choose what we want from each reality and bring it into this one. I don't know if anyone has seen the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie, but if you haven't, that is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, and I highly recommend. I saw it last night and it was great. I really liked it. But it's this idea of like multiple realities, multiverse. There's not just a universe. There's many realities. I'll go into this on another episode. That's way too much to go into this one. But just keep that in the back of your mind. You can choose things from other realities. And when you feel it so deeply, chances are it's happening in another reality already. All you have to do is reach out and grab it. Side note to that is that while yes, you can reach out and grab it, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to come to fruition right now. And that's something that I have had to let go of, is this idea of timelines of like, but I'm working so hard for this thing. Like, why can't it just show up? I don't understand. I see it. I feel it so deeply. Why is it not here? Because it's not your time yet. Doesn't mean it's not going to come. Doesn't mean that you're wrong. Doesn't mean your intuition's wrong. It's just not your time yet. You just got to hold tight. Something that my spirit guides are always reminding me of every single time I get a freaking soul download is like, trust just trust. We're always with you. I know it's hard, but just trust. And I'm like, okay, I am. But when's my time? As a human, it's not our job to know when. It's really not. Anyway, side tangent. Let's move on to number 3. Boundary setting for your thoughts. So on the last episode, I talked about setting boundaries with people. But guess what? We need to set them with our own thoughts, with our own beings as well. When you catch yourself falling back into that old conditioned mindset, like scarcity or like fear or like worry, gently stop yourself. Stick that hand right in the face of those thoughts and be like, not today. Remind yourself, that's not my truth anymore. This is way easier said than done. I'm just going to throw it out there. I fucking struggle with this. Anytime my bank account, going back to that example, goes back into the negatives, I immediately start spiraling again. I'm like, oh my God, I need to find a way to make money. How do I make fast money? How do I pull it out of the negatives? What is wrong with me? Should I be working even more? Like, am I just meant to like run on the hamster wheel of the 9-to-5 job that I hate and just that's life? And then I'm like, no, that's not my truth. My truth is not, I can't be holistic and be a good person and follow my passion and make money. My truth is that I do get to have all of those. Do I know exactly when? No, but I do get to, and I'm working towards that. So replace the thought with something that aligns with that new mindset, that new belief system. It takes time, but over time, that practice creates new neural pathways, new mental ways of thinking that actually do support your growth. Okay, so new metaphor coming in hot for this. When you set these boundaries for your thoughts, it's almost like it's almost like tending after this beautiful garden that's your mind. So you've planted seeds of abundance, of peace, of growth, of joy, of love. And then these old conditioned thoughts like fear or scarcity or worry or isolation, these are weeds that are trying to creep in. And kind of like you would if you're gardening and you're protecting your garden from unwanted plants, you gently grab those old thoughts and then you remind yourself, this doesn't belong here anymore. So you replace the weeds with nurturing thoughts. And so in turn, you're watering those flowers with your new mindset. You're taking those weeds out and you're replacing it with nutrients. And then with time and care, that garden starts to flourish. And that supports the life that you are wanting to grow into. That supports the version of yourself that you actually want to show up as in this lifetime. That supports this like grand vision that you're feeling for yourself. So to wrap this all up with a pretty little bow, remember that shifting mindset is not an overnight process. It takes awareness, it takes patience, and it honestly takes you being willing to feel uncomfortable as you start to step into this like new way of being and acting and doing. The beauty is that when you start to commit to that process, you see the changes, not just in your mind, but like in the life around you. Things start flowing in and out of your life, and you no longer associate them with bad things or good things. They just are there. They're all there to support you. I hope that all of the insights, all of the tips that I've shared help you in your journey to break away from those conditioned beliefs and to start aligning with the life that you truly desire and deserve. You are so fucking worthy. All of us are. You're capable of so much more than these beliefs that you've been handed. And that doesn't mean that these beliefs are bad. It just means that it's time that we shift out of them. We've grown away from some of these. They don't serve us, and we're allowed to replace them. It's our right as a human, as a soul living in this human experience, to be able to shift and to change our own narrative. That's the beauty of free will, right? That's why we're here. Thank you for joining me in this episode. Thank you for being here. Please, I want you to continue reaching out. If you reach out every single episode with something that you learned, I would be ecstatic, because the one thing about podcasting is that sometimes it can feel a little bit one-sided, because you know people are listening, but you don't know exactly who, and you don't know exactly what they're getting from it. So even if you like drop one line in the comments on Spotify, or you leave a rating on Apple Podcasts, which seriously helps so much with boosting ratings and boosting visibility, so please. But if you like message me on Instagram or email me or text me, like please, I want to hear how this affected you. because yes, it's very cathartic for me to share, but this is my soul's purpose, is to be able to share in order to help you. And it means more than you know when I get to hear how it positively affects your life. So anyway, until next time, keep shining, keep aligning, and remember, the universe has your back always. I'll see you next time.